Here's your Storm Track 7 forecast.
Good evening, Eastern Iowa. I'm Storm Track 7 meteorologist Andy Cassidy. Well, tonight's the first of a couple of days and nights where we're going to see a chance of wintry precipitation. Tonight's at least the least likely, I should say, out of the next 3 or 4 days, but there is that chance for our far southern areas. You can see Washington County is under the winter weather advisory officially, but some areas along and south of I-80 could see that as well. You can see most of the action is going to be off to our southeast and east into Illinois, but we could see some wintry precipitation through the overnight hours. Most of us will be dry, but about 10 o'clock and starting to see a little bit of wintry precipitation possible. And some of that you're seeing some pink show up. Again, I think most of this is going to be along and south of I-80. In terms of the freezing stuff, could see a little bit of wet flakes north of there, but there is that chance of a little bit of a glaze of ice into tomorrow morning. Now you can see most of that again off to our east, but that chance is there overnight tonight. So again, pretty much along and south of I-80, just kind of connecting Iowa City through Keokuk County, Washington County. The reason why it's the most likely, or the only winter weather advisory spot, is because it's most likely to see that glaze of ice. And this should wrap up again by 7 a.m. Monday morning. In terms of the rest of us, mostly cloudy skies. Low temperatures will probably hit about 10 o'clock tonight, and then we'll rise through the overnight hours due to the fact that we'll continue to see strong winds out of the south at 10 to 20 with gusts near 30 miles per hour. Then during the day tomorrow, we're cloudy and much warmer. High temperatures. Look at this. Some areas hitting above freezing for the first time in about a week and a half, so much welcome warmth there. Winds staying slightly breezy out of the southwest at 10 to 15 with gusts up to 25. So now here's the Monday night into Tuesday system. Usually when it's about 48 hours out, we have a lot of things ironed out. The timing, what we can expect in terms of the precipitation type. Snow totals usually are a little bit hazy, but they're pretty, on the mark, minus, an inch or so. With wintry stuff like this, where you have a potential of all three of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, there can be a lot of questions, and this one is no exception. But we'll start off with what we do know in terms of this upcoming system, talk about the question marks, and then break down 2 likely scenarios that'll unfold. So in terms of what we know, it'll start Monday night after 10 p.m. So about 10 p.m. to midnight, that's that starting point. It'll start off as rain on our southern edge. Again, that's been pretty consistent across any data you look at. And the farther southeast you go or you live, the more likely you are to be impacted by this wintry system. So areas far north and west, not as likely, still could see stuff, but again, areas like Cedar County, Iowa County, Johnson County, Washington, Keokuk, those are more likely to see some of this wintry action than, say, Chickasaw County, Bremer County, Winneshiek County. In terms of the questions, the biggest one is going to be the precipitation type. Is it rain? Is it freezing rain? Is it snow? Combination of all three. The second biggest one is the storm track, and that's been changing quite a bit since last night, throwing in another wrench into this big puzzle of a system. And the third one is the arrival of warmer air. Similar to precipitation type, does that warmer air hold off so that we see more snow? Or does it come in a little bit earlier and we'll see more rain, freezing rain? So there's 2 likely scenarios. Here's scenario 1, and this is, for what it's worth, is what I'm leaning more towards for us Monday night into Tuesday, because this is more of the shorter range model look or data look, so that, again, they're getting a little bit more data rolled in there to kind of use more variables to look at what's likely to happen. So regardless of any of the weather gibberish I just spit out, here's scenario 1. So as I mentioned, 10 o'clock, starting to see a little bit of rain on our southern edge. And this one is the one that doesn't go very far north and west. Basically from Dubuque, Tama, south and east, that's really the upper threshold of location for this. And you'll see most of it rain, a little bit of a wintry mix in there. And again, maybe a little bit of snow during the morning hours Tuesday. Wraps up by about noon. And really, the impacts, I should say, are a little less or a little bit more minimal than scenario 2 will be. Still could see some slick travel, though. Mostly rain along and south of I-80 in a wintry mix for the rest of the area. And again, even though the amount won't be as much with scenario 1, still could see some slick commutes, especially in this wintry mix area. But even along and south of I-80, if it gets cold enough, some of that could freeze early Tuesday morning. Now here's scenario 2. This is what you've probably seen if you've watched yesterday or this morning. Not as likely in my opinion, but still could play out. So here's scenario 2. Again, Monday night at 10 o'clock, we see some rain on our southern edge. Again, you see this kind of trickle up to Highway 20. I think it'll stay fairly south by 10 o'clock, but then does move through. Then through the overnight hours, we'll see, and again, you're seeing a lot of pink here. I think it'll be mostly I-80 to Highway 20. We'll see this wintry mix. And then north of that, we'll see the snow. But you see Tuesday morning, a lot of it is snow, gets cold enough to transition into snow, and then stays as snow for much of the morning hours. And then into the early afternoon, this does move out by about 5 o'clock. So that is one other thing we know. It should wrap up by mid-afternoon hours and start after 10 p.m. It's just everything in between that's still pretty tricky. So in this case, for scenario 2, so basically just north of kind of Waterloo, Oelwein, Elkader, north and west, that'll be mostly snow. In between there, pretty much kind of Highway 20, a little bit farther north, to I-80 will be a wintry mix, and then I-80 south will be mostly rain. In the wintry mix area, this is where we could see maybe a glaze, maybe up to 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain or ice. Mostly rain, again, maybe 1/10 of an inch of rain. You could see a little bit of snow or freezing rain mixed in, and then mostly snow combined with this wintry mix area. Anywhere between, I think, 1 to 3 inches of snow can't be ruled out, and it'll be a wet snow due to the fact that temperatures will be at or maybe even a little bit over freezing. So again, that was a lot of information, so go back in the video if you need to, but that's what we know right now. As I mentioned, scenario 1 I think is more likely, but both can't be ruled out. We'll have more information, of course, tomorrow morning on our Storm Track 7 app, on air, online. We'll keep you posted as we go throughout the day tomorrow. Your city-by-city forecast for Waterloo, Dubuque, Cedar Rapids, and Iowa City. So Wednesday, we do have another wintry mix chance. Wednesday and Thursday, though, are more of a chance of rain because I think it'll be a little bit warmer. So not looking as impactful, but still could see a little bit of slick conditions, maybe a little bit of freezing rain Wednesday, Thursday. Then after that, we'll see some clearing in terms of precipitation. It'll be cloudy, but dry. The one other thing to note, though, as well, when you have these warmer conditions but very cold ground, you can get fog that forms overnight and during the day. And with that, some melting and then refreezing during the overnight hours, especially starting Thursday night. So that could become another issue as well. So even though it's not falling, that's still another thing we have to think about. But as we go through the rest of the week, those high temperatures, again, not going to change very much after Monday in the mid to upper 30s. And then maybe a little bit of sunshine there to wrap up January.